There is a question that I'll admit I have thought about over and over again during times in my life where things feel like they're getting a little shaky, or I am going out on a limb and trying something completely new that is out of my comfort zone. What if this were all gone tomorrow? What if I had to start completely over from zero by myself with no one to help me? Now, these thoughts are thoughts that I don't have as commonly anymore because, number one, I have worked really hard through my journaling practice to change my mindset and to work on living from a place of not fear, not anxiety, to work on living from a place of abundance, from joy, and from positivity. I have done a ton of work on that. In fact, years, I think, before I even really started my true level up journey with exploring elegance and femininity. This was what got me to the point of having no college degree in computer science or any technology related field and working for a startup and becoming a successful IT project manager. I was also running my own business on the side, which made a full-time income, and I was working completely with time flexibility and could make my own rates and choose the clients that I worked with. So when I say, if you have seen my past videos, that this is the story, this channel is all about my experience, my journey, my transformation from broke beach bum into feminine, elegant, and affluent woman, I truly mean that at one point in my life, I was the broke beach bum. I lived with nothing. It felt like everything was paycheck to paycheck. And while I've certainly been through times where finances are tight and I don't just have the free ability to spend in the way that I personally would like to without limits, I have learned a lot of habits and a lot of skills over the years that I feel truly confident in saying that if I had to start from zero, I would be able to find success again. I can again truly tell you that I know the feeling of being broke, of being at zero and trying to figure out, how do I dig myself out of this hole and how do I get started? Where do I go from here? I used to wonder all the time, how am I going to buy a home? How am I going to afford a vehicle? This video might give you some insights if you're in that place, so let's go ahead and get started. The very first thing, if I were starting from nothing, okay, I would do a lot of work on my thoughts and the way that I'm thinking about my current circumstances. I used to, especially in my mid-20s, I used to really think that someone was always going to come save me. And while I think that it's wonderful if you're in a place where you're in a really good, healthy relationship, you're considering marriage, and you've already talked sort of about how, you know, the roles are going to work. Are you going to have a well-off financial provider to marry, or are you kind of, you know, starting from the same level together? That's where I was. My husband and I, we both were starting from nothing together. So that is something to consider, but I also realized that even though I have a great relationship, because we're not in that place of entering that with wealth already, I had to think about it from taking ownership for what I wanted to experience in my life, what I wanted to do, how I was going to live my life and pay my bills, pay for the experiences and things that I wanted to enjoy. So that was something that took me way too long to realize when I was younger, was that just because I had earned a college degree, I actually have 2 college degrees, they're not even in the field that I ended up in. I really thought like I was entitled to a full-time job with benefits, making a comfortable living wage. And that was not the case. So I had to wake up to that. I had to take ownership for, hey, this is not supporting my life. And so now I am going to have to figure some things out. And so that is, I'm not going to go through my whole entire story of every little detail, but that is just the first thing I would say is What thoughts are you thinking to yourself? Are you taking ownership for your situation? Are you looking at, okay, truly, I need to do some work on my skills. I need to work on my spending habits. I need to really take a look and see, what is causing me to be broke and have this place of, I'm really starting from zero with nothing to level up in my life. The first step that I would take, this is very important, and I think that a lot of us overanalyze these types of things and never actually take action on them, but this is what I truly did when I first started to level up my income and what I was bringing to the table in my marriage was you've got to go through and you've got to make a list of all of your skills and past experiences that, in theory, the idea is someone might pay you for these skills and experiences that you've had. And you've got to make sure that you've got as many things on there as possible. Even if you think that it's something you're not good at, but you have experience in, go ahead and write it down. Make that list, okay? From there, the next list that I would make is a list of people, of connections that I might have, even if it's a relative or it's someone that you spoke to years ago and haven't seen in a while. I would try and make that list of people that I know as long as possible. Sometimes just sitting down and focusing on this, people might come out of the woodworks, and you might realize that you could have an opportunity that maybe just in the midst of all of your franticness and trying to figure out how do I get out of this broke level that I'm on, you might have just overlooked it. And so this is another thing you'll do, is make that list of people and connections that you might have. Also, make a list of networking groups that are local to you, or make a list of online networking groups, or even just groups that are like a very active community in the field that you might be the most interested in trying to acquire a paid position or start a business in even. Additionally, I would set up a LinkedIn profile, or make sure that yours get some new content on it if you haven't been active in a while, and just post content there daily that highlights your knowledge or that shares maybe some kind of valuable content that someone else might find, and kind of make the connection that you do have some skill or knowledge in an area that is valuable. And this could be done in a variety of ways. You don't even need to sit there and think, okay, I have nothing to offer. Everyone is talking about this already, or, I'm nothing special in this field. Well, giving your unique perspective and your life experience on it can make a difference in the way that you share in the professional space too, okay? So that is something that I think people do overlook, is that LinkedIn can be used to show that you have something to offer. Even if you don't have the resume that is impressive, even if you don't have the school that is impressive, that is still going to, I think, make a difference. Now, something else too that LinkedIn is great for is finding recruiters to contact. So if you know that you already have a set career you're interested in pursuing in order to level up and get yourself that income level to get you out of that broke space, then you can reach out to recruiters. You can certainly send messages on LinkedIn that you are looking for a position, and start some conversations. You never know what might come from that. You're gonna wanna get to work. And to be honest with you, this is just my perspective, and what I did during this time in my life was I cut out so many things that were just pure, pleasures and kind of laziness, so to speak. And I know there's a trend I think I've seen, kind of where you go ghost for a few months and come back as the phoenix who has risen from the ashes. That is pretty much exactly what I did. I cut off a lot of friends. I had been very social. I liked to go out and socialize, and I completely stopped doing that. I stopped going out even and shopping. I stopped doing things like, the only time I would go to a coffee shop was if I had my laptop and I was sitting there looking for jobs, or I was searching for new clients for my virtual assistant business, which I'll share about in a second. But that is what I would truly say, this time is going to be that sort of stay down till you come up thing. And you'll be surprised how, if you get really, really focused and you develop that mental toughness in the beginning here, you'll be surprised how quickly things can start to change for you. I would wake up at 5:30 every day, journal. I would have my cup of coffee. I would go for a walk or a quick workout, in my apartment complex. That was another thing that was important, was staying physically fit, because it develops that discipline muscle and helps you to train your mind to work through a tough challenge. And sometimes I think that when we are starting from a place of zero, we might have before that been very accustomed to comfort, and when that is stripped away from us, it's almost like relearning how to get back into that mindset of, okay, I've got to get to work and I've got to make something happen. You're not going to make it happen. It's not going to change by just sitting around and sort of complaining to your best friend or, to someone else. You've really got to think, okay, what can I do about this, and be consistent in showing up for that. That's part of the taking action as well. Everything from there, you're reaching out to the people, you made the list, you're talking, you're writing the content and talking about the area or the career that you want to pursue, the business you want to pursue. You are learning. I always called it my brain food. I would listen to multiple podcasts or watch YouTube videos that were for learning a skill every single day. I would find free courses online that I could take or free newsletters that I could sign up for. And I would just learn. I would take notes. I would figure out how I could apply that to what I was doing to make it better, so that I could build my skills and I could increase my income. You can look for certifications as well that would help you to find, once you make those connections and find maybe some more opportunities to send in your resume to, or to go and apply for a job, or to pitch a client even. You want to be having those certifications to kind of back you up, especially if you don't have the educational background. So that's exactly what I did. I was working part-time in a spa, and my husband, this was early in our marriage, he had recently started working for a startup tech company that was local to us. And I was very intrigued by the way that he was living his day. I wanted that. I saw the benefits to the way that this company was run, and I wanted that, but I didn't have the educational background. And so what I started to do was I did start to learn some skills with social media on the side, and I went to the owner of the spa and I asked if I could help run her social media. And so I dove into that. I learned everything that I could, and eventually, long story short, after I think it was 2 years maybe, I worked my way into being a Facebook ads manager and digital marketing manager by the end of when I sort of stepped back a little bit from my business to be a mother. I really want to just stress that the second phase of this is where most of the work happens, and you've got to just stay very, very focused, constantly learning skills, constantly making connections, and don't be afraid to put yourself out there. It was very, I think, uncomfortable for me to just present, myself as saying, hey, I'll run your social media. There is actually, so that's how I became a virtual assistant. There's actually a lot of skills that you would be surprised that translate into working online. So once you're able to work online, you can also better manage your schedule as far as searching for full-time jobs if you need something with benefits, if you are wanting to gain some extra skills to use on a resume to work in the corporate space so that you do get all the benefits, the stock bonuses and everything. That was how I did it. And when I was going around applying to positions, finally I ended up getting a Salesforce certification because I thought maybe I would be a Salesforce administrator. It was a very sought after position at the time, and all of the resources to learn were free, and you just had to pay to take a certification. And so I went and got my certification. I passed the certification. I think it took me 15 minutes to go through the whole entire test because I had all the resources that I had studied every single day. I had a notebook that I was going through all the test questions, and just like I would have for the SAT or something for my exams in college, and I got that certification. And that was my first real sort of proof to myself and to potential employers that I had what it took and the knowledge that it took to fulfill a position and be of value to a company, in the company that I was looking to work for. Now, I started to apply for jobs, and I actually went in and I talked to a few people. I first sort of gave them my resume and said, look, this is my past experience. I have run a couple of businesses before. I am currently building websites online now. I'm managing social media, so maybe I want to work in your marketing department. I've learned Salesforce. I have my administrator certification, and my resume would get passed around, and I had 3 job positions that I applied and interviewed for. I did not get the first 2. The third one was a part-time internship. And so that was not my most desirable position, but I decided, let me go ahead and get my foot in the door and accept this. And my whole strategy was that I would come in and show that I had value, and I was going to basically make sure that by the end of that 90-day internship, I had proven that I would be an asset to the company. And this was not easy. So this was not me taking a seat back and taking a break once I got that internship. No, that was when I really had to do the work. I still had to make sure that when I showed up, I was knowledgeable. I would go home and study more Salesforce. I would work for clients. I would do, my virtual assistant work I would do in the evenings and on weekends, or I would wake up really early. I would give up my lunch breaks to work, and this was just the season of life that I was in. This was before I had children. This was early in my marriage, and we were really trying to get to a point where we could buy our first home was ultimately what it was. But this was what got me there. By the end of the internship, I had found a way to almost create my own position, but I was able to try a lot of different things. And this company was not the company that the interns go and just get coffee for everyone. This company really gave you the chance to use skills or learn new skills and, network with other employees through the process. And so that's what I did. So all of that to say, that was the gateway for me to get at least my finances where I was not living paycheck to paycheck. We were able to, because my virtual assistant business grew, we were able to then go on some vacations with that. We paid off a lot of debt with that. And that is truly what I would do all over again. I would go back to a startup if I did not have the experience I have now, because startups, a lot of them are just looking for people who are hungry and who have some sort of, inkling of the skills that they need for their company to be successful in the early days, especially. I will say that, for me, my geographical area is a little bit easier. I think now it would be a little bit more challenging for me if I were starting with 0 experience in the field to go about that. But I also targeted the field because I knew that it was high paying. And something that I would do differently now as well, I have a list of other certifications professionally that I could go and get, and I would feel still more confident even in the competition that there's out there today with all the remote work. I would still feel very confident that I could land a position. I think that if you need to get income really quickly and you need to get some skills really quickly, becoming a virtual assistant is a really great avenue, because there's so many different skills that you can translate to online, and a lot of them are very simple, and a lot of people are willing to pay you pretty decently for them. Once you have landed a higher paying position, or you've gotten some clients, if you are working online or you're entering the gig economy even, I would make sure my first goal was to pay my bills and expenses, and then anything over that I would be putting into a special savings account, and I would save up 3 months of my living expenses as quickly as I could. So you're still going without for a little while longer. We're still stretching that willpower, but it's so important to do that, because I can't tell you how many times in the beginning where we were first starting to get to a better place financially that we needed that fund. It will save your life, and you don't have to then go and put money on a credit card or take out loans for anything else. You've got that cushion there. It's so important to have that, because once you get there, then we can go and you want to start investing your money. You want to, at least if you've got a company that you're working for and they've got a 401k, you want to at least try and get their match. You want to at least open yourself up an IRA. If you're not working for a company, anyone can do that, to invest on their own. It's a really great way to save for retirement, and so that's important. The last thing that we did in kind of the final stage of getting beyond that paycheck to paycheck and getting somewhere else where we could be more comfortable was we set up our conscious spending plan. And I'll leave a link in the description that will give you a link to Ramit Sethi's conscious spending plan, because it's kind of like a spreadsheet, and you can fill that out and sort of use that as a guideline for how you spend your money. Finally, I do want to mention to you that I have a 30-day level up plan. So if you have not seen that, I have a video, I'll link in the description below, that outlines a 30-day level up plan. It's meant to help you to achieve a goal within 30 days or 4 weeks, and really motivate yourself to stick with it. And so that might be helpful to you. I have a Notion template that goes along with that, which Notion is my favorite tool ever for running my life now. And then I also have a free printable calendar. So for those of you who are, really gonna cut back, or really gonna just, make sure you're focused on where you're spending, I have a free printable calendar, because it does help so much with a goal if you have that visual right in front of you to look at. Where am I? I'm tracking my progress every day. I'm checking the boxes. That is something that motivates me and keeps me focused. And so I really am cheering you on in this journey of going from zero to getting yourself out of the paycheck to paycheck mode and getting somewhere in life that you want to be. Whatever that might look like. I've now worked myself to the way, along with my husband, we have worked together, where I am able to focus more on motherhood and caring for our family. And my husband has been able to level up his career to do that. We've just really been so blessed, but it's a lot of hard work in the beginning to get to this sort of place and this level of life. And I want to encourage you that it's possible. If I can do it, you can do it. So stick with it. Don't give up. Find ways to make sure that you're taking care of your mind, and you will be surprised at how far and how quickly you will go. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.